Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Ask Rebecca radio show. Thanks for joining me. How are you? How are you feeling? It has been a roller coaster ride of intense highs and lows leading up to the solar eclipse on June 21st. Last week, I was feeling these energies so intensely in my body, especially my head. And it's happening again today. So I'm not going to be taking a caller, but luckily I prepared and channeled this information earlier today. So I'll be able to do the weekly intuitive messages, but I won't be able to take a caller because right now I am dealing with some head stuff. So many of you could have been experiencing something similar physically. So you could have been dealing with headaches, maybe fatigue, maybe some, sniffles or sore throat, or just any kind of other physical body aches. And some of it manifested itself through accidents as well. So I've noticed a lot of people having accidents in different ways, whether, tripping or falling, a lot of car accidents. So all of this kind of crazy energy that's around right now is affecting everyone in really different ways. Thankfully for me, I just tend to deal with these things physically and not so much emotionally, thanks to having worked through a lot of my own baggage here over the last 20 years. So, okay, now, besides the physical themes that you might have been dealing with, there's also a strong energies in the month of June that are all connected to air and water. So you may have been dealing with themes around bridging the gap between your thoughts and your feelings. And with Mercury retrograde in Cancer, emotions may be running high and your own thoughts will trigger intense emotional releases, which are past traumas coming up to be healed. And all this will be triggered by the people, the places, and situations happening in your life currently to give you the opportunity to release old hurts. Otherwise, you're going to run the risk of continuing the cycle of hurt. And I'm sure you've heard this before: hurt people, and you hurt yourself as well. So more frequent issues and opportunities in the form of endings and new beginnings in the areas of homes, living situations, family matters, communication, and transportation since I want to say since at least last week as well. So those energies are coming up, and that's going to play out, I feel like, at least for the rest of the month, where there's a lot of energy surrounding the home, and maybe you're moving, or maybe you're changing your living situation in some other way, and obviously communication and family connections as well. Intuition is at a high point to help you master and trust yourself. You learn to trust your intuition through trial and error. That's just how it works. It will be important to practice discernment between your thoughts that may be more ego, fear-based, tied to past traumatic experiences, versus your thoughts that are connected to your heart's inner knowing. So that takes a little bit of discernment, and it takes a little practice to make sure that you're not operating from ego, fear, and sometimes that can cloud our intuition a little bit. Physically, your energy levels may drop, especially if you are dealing with high emotions. We are also moving into an extremely karmic time with massive collective shifts. The next 6 months could bring personal karmic retribution, both positive and negative, but we'll see this manifesting on a collective level as well. So all of our collective karma is being played out right now in the world, and we're seeing that happen. That's all of our collective negative energies that are manifesting in real time. More political upheaval, earth changes, and shocking information could come about. I want to say, just before I jumped on here, I saw a 7.4 magnitude earthquake that hit Mexico. So we're already seeing these earth changes coming about, and other areas may be dealing with weather and again, tied to earth changes. Time will also feel like it's moving more rapidly, and expect constant changes accelerating us into the future. So it's this push pull where you're getting squeezed like a vice, and you're being purged emotionally and physically of any past traumas and negative situations and baggage that you may be holding on to, while at the same time, while you're releasing, you're being thrust into the future for new beginnings. So it's very important that you're making sure you're aware of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what your motivations are behind your actions, and that you're not operating from a reactive mode. Let's see. According to an astrologer, Lorna Bevan, hopefully I didn't butcher her name, a writer for Wake Up World, she says the energy field is turbulent with Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto all retrograde. Neptune turns retrograde on June 23rd, and Venus turns direct on June 25th, before Mars enters into its own sign of Aries on June 27th, activating the sensitive world axis. And the warrior planet, which is Mars, normally spends about 6 weeks in each sign, but will cross backwards and forwards through Aries until January 7th, 2021, which is 6 months instead of 6 weeks, which is giving another reason to predict volatility on the world stage. And everything that I'm picking up on intuitively and the visions that I've had, we are definitely in for more 2020 madness. And, Aries is a fire sign. So with Mars enhancing that, we could definitely see some things kicking up out in the collective. Feelings of belonging and not belonging will be high as well. We could see some losses, crashes in the housing and financial market. We could also see this manifesting in death and accidents as well on a personal level. And another woman that I follow named Aluna explained really well what's kind of happening with the whole ascension process and how we're kind of integrating things within our own mind. And I'm going to share with you how she kind of explained it, and maybe this will give you a different perspective. Basically, she's saying that everything you witness, experience, and get triggered by through the lens of good versus evil is an illusion of the mortal mind in opposition with its own self within. And it's a mind that is in the process of integration of the separation of light and dark within you, and through a progressive series of awakenings. And that's when awakenings is just you becoming more aware of your actions, your thoughts, your feelings, your motivations. It's just awareness to your surroundings internally, externally. But she's speaking more on an internal level. So as you're going through a series of awakenings, what's happening is the two hemispheres of the brain begin to synchronize and harmonize through the integration process. And then an increase in light is received by the inner spiritual sun. Within the brain, it casts a greater shadow, which then causes an increase in self-awareness, compassion, contemplation, wisdom, and knowledge. And then what happens once this all integrates, then we experience the perfection of what is unfolding in divine order. Hopefully this gives you a little deeper understanding, because everything that is happening is divinely orchestrated. It is all of God. I mean, we can, go back and forth about good, evil, all of that, but it's all happening because it was designed that way by God, and what you're experiencing here is for a higher purpose. And it's just all part of the awakening process to help us be able to ascend, right? It's the ascension of humanity, which is us going back to God, back to where we came from. And basically what it means is if you're divided within, then you're constantly getting emotionally triggered by your outer world, causing you to attack, defend, justify, isolate, push away, or self-sabotage. And I'm not telling you you won't ever feel, but you won't emotionally overreact or take things personally or feel anger to the point of lashing out at others or feeling even afraid of anything, because you become completely comfortable with the idea, or not even idea, but death no longer becomes an issue. There's nothing to be afraid of. And it's when you truly embody self-love and peace, because you're no longer separate of anything and have a deep knowing that all is happening exactly as it was designed, then it's so much easier to make it through life. And just a friendly reminder again, remember, what you choose to energize grows. And the powers to be know this, and it's the best kept secret in the world, and it's kept from you. And, you know, people like myself and others out there that are trying to teach this and how you actually create your reality and how you manifest your reality, it's hidden from the public, and we're ridiculed and made fun of. And meanwhile, most of us are living a pretty awesome life because we actually know how this reality works. So when you put high emotions and energy into a cause that you think is positive, but you do it in a negative way, you're just empowering the cycle to continue exactly as it always has been. That's why there's been no resolution with all of these causes and all of these fundraisers and everything that we've done over the last hundreds of years. Nothing has changed, right? So neutrality and thought out plans of action will have the biggest impact. Be the change you wish to see in the world is the solution, not empowering the problem with more of the same. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Let's do a quick moment of Zen to help integrate some more eclipse energies that we are already feeling. I'm already getting bombarded by them. I've felt like I've been in the twilight zone and have just been dealing with a lot of pressure and weird feelings in my head and third eye. So this energy is hitting us from the July 5th lunar eclipse that's headed our way. Okay, so if you close your eyes, open your palms, and allow yourself to be open to receive, I'm going to be connecting with your higher self and calling on your team of guides to help energetically clear any blocks, emotional residue, and or negative attachments in your physical body and light bodies. And this will help raise your vibration, expand your consciousness, and increase your awareness in order to help prepare your soul for ascension. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, relaxing as much as possible on every exhalation. And I'll let you know when to open your eyes. Okay, let's open our eyes. All right, let's get into what you can expect from today, June 23rd through to June 30th as an overall theme, and then areas of love, work, finances, health, and spirituality. General themes. Venus is finally going direct on June 25th, and with each passing day, we'll feel the load lightening around love, money, and self-esteem, or at least we will be looking forward instead of backward in these areas, right? So even though you're dealing with real issues in real time in current situations, anything that's been triggered is actually tied to the past that has needed to come up to be healed in order to also heal your current situation or prepare you to receive a better situation. And especially if you use this time wisely to heal any past issues with self-esteem, relationships, and money, then you're really going to feel that push forward, and you're really just going to feel a lot lighter and more happy around these areas of your life. And as we get closer to the end of the month, you'll start to feel more determined and energized to take action to bring about goals. As always, depending on your own personal life and karma, you'll be experiencing one, all, or some of the possible major positives or epic negatives in the area of work, career, and money. And this time period will see destruction and breakdowns of old structures, systems, rules, or the way things have always been done, and building of new ones. And this will happen on a global and individual level, and we're already seeing this coming about. Unfortunately, 2020 is not quite done with us yet, and change can't happen if we aren't aware of what needs changing, and change can't happen if we don't allow it to happen. So the divine steps in and tears it down, right? It tears it all down, forcing us to change. The hardest change for most will be stepping out of victim mentality, and this round of energies could bring up the feeling of being a victim. So this theme is going to be really, really strong again. And I've been there. I know how hard it is to look at things from the lens of not being a victim or seeing ourselves as a victim. I've suffered my own traumas that have left me feeling victimized until I did the work and looked at my own dark parts and took back my power. Perception is reality. And, you know, it takes a lot of work, but it's not impossible. And just, it's so worth it. I just can't express that enough. It's so worth it to just look at yourself deeply, 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 because when you do, your life just transforms and nothing outside of yourself can penetrate that and affect you. This week will also be about making higher and better use of your power. Although there could be some hesitation on your part about making the necessary changes in order to use your power in a more spiritual and more effective manner. You'll be evaluating your fears surrounding how others may not like the new you or like the old you or like you, period, right? So it's all about identity and how we're worried about how others perceive us. And, you know, my advice is don't worry about how other people see you, because if they're judging you, they're just judging themselves, right? You need to live your life for you. Now, the other thing that could also be working with these energies is you understanding better how you identify yourself, and maybe possibly how you identify yourself by how much money you make or what your job is or that your educational background or who you're in a relationship with or anything else that is material and outer directed versus the internal you, the forever you, the real you of where you originally came from. It's not this physical body or this physical world. So all of that can be coming up, and really take a look at whether or not you're constantly seeking validation outside of yourself and seeking validation from others. Because if you're falling into that habit, you know, it doesn't work very well. It really doesn't. It's great to get ideas and bounce, you know, opinions off of yourself and hear what others are saying, but ultimately you need to be the one that's validating yourself. This week you could be doubting yourself unnecessarily, and this could cause you and those around you some problems. You may be overlooking synchronicities that are pointing you in the direction that you most want and need to go. So get out of your head and into the present moment so that you don't miss those synchronicities. That's your guides, the universe, your higher self communicating with you and trying to direct you down the path that is easier, right? Because ultimately, most things are divinely orchestrated, but you have a choice. You could choose to go the long way, the hard way, or you could choose to do the quick, easy way, right? That maybe requires a little more in-depth internal work, but ultimately the result will happen much faster. Now, this week, you will have to consciously cultivate a positive attitude to get through the week more smoothly. And before I get into work and all those areas, I did feel guided to pull two cards, one from the Angels and Ancestors deck, and then one of the Animal Spirit cards. So the card for the Angels and Ancestors is the star ancestor that says, follow the voice of your soul. And basically, the message is heed the messages coming directly from your soul. The star ancestors is a Native American term for extraterrestrial light beings who are dedicated to the healing and growth of the world. These incredible beings are divine embodiments of love who bring wisdom from the higher realms. Often people feel a sense of connectedness when they look up into the night sky and see the stars. I believe that's because they are remembering their starry connections, and those are what this card represents. The star ancestor is reminding you that you have otherworldly support and that your friends from the stars can help you if you are willing to be helped. They can support you in connecting with and following your soul's deepest calling. There is a deeper purpose to your human journey. Not only were you born on purpose, you were born for a purpose. You were born to be a bright light in the world, and there are supporters out there in the universe sending waves of energy to guide you at this time. Information and inspiration that has been coming your way recently is not new information, but memories. Your feelings of being drawn in a particular direction are the awakening of an aspect of your soul. You are being drawn towards a road that will not only light you up, but also help you light up your corner of the world. Continue following the cosmic guidance that is coming your way. So again, it's important that you guys are paying attention this week so that you don't miss that guidance. All right, and I need to speed up a little bit here, but your animal spirit energy for the week is the wolf. And the wolf represents guardian of family and tribe, activism, and ritual. The wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being and longevity of the pack. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mentorship, humanitarian efforts, or teaching, religious or political studies. The wolf gets into trouble when it assumes every member of the tribe must follow suit. This includes children walking in their parents' footsteps. Although it will surely be uncomfortable at first, practicing tolerance helps balance out agitated wolf energy. Contemplate the following: embrace all, exclude none, which I find absolutely fitting for this time period. When you're in balance with this energy, you're going to feel reliable, democratic, and fearless. When you're out of balance with this energy, you're going to be judgmental and dominating. And if that happens, to bring yourself back into balance, you're just going to practice letting go, right? It's just your control freak tendencies that are getting triggered, and it's fear. So when we're in fear, we try to control everything. We try to control other people. We try to control what's happening at work. We try to control what's happening in every area of our lives, right? So you want to pay attention if that energy is creeping up on you. Okay, let's see here. Work, for those of you employed. Someone older and established may play a significant role in your working life. You may also notice your own people-pleasing habits while realizing that you just can't please the boss or someone at work with no matter how hard you try. And this can also translate into your non-working life, where you might start noticing where you're just people-pleasing. Right? You're constantly saying yes, and this again is tied to seeking validation outside of yourself. I'm also picking up on some strong energies that indicate resistance to change, and some of you may be forced to change. Okay, some of you may be forced to change, adapt, and overcome in this area of your life. So it's going to be important that you let go of the past, and you'll be better off. And, traumas show up in different areas of our life. So you could have work trauma, and things could be triggered, and you could be staying at a job that's totally unhealthy for you because you're afraid that you can't find something better. So really, there's a lot of evaluation that will be going on in this area of your life. Those of you that are looking for a job, it's hit or miss right now. I feel like some people are getting work, some are being called back to work, some are losing work. There's businesses that are closing again due to, a ramping up of the virus. So right now, it really is just hit or miss for everybody when it comes to work. I do feel that, to me, work is transforming. It's really shifting. And I think we're going to see this happening over the next several years. Like, I mean, there's just significant changes that will be coming about between now and the next 5 years. I feel like there's going to just be massive, massive changes in the area of work. But right now, I feel like it's something you're creating for yourself. Lots of online businesses are starting. So there's going to be a real shift for some of you when it comes to your working life. Love, those of you in committed relationships and dating seriously, it's time to be brave and communicate. I feel some of you are hesitant to talk about what it is you really want and need. You've been shut down. You've been, I feel like most of us from childhood, we weren't really heard. Our feelings didn't matter. So I think it's just very, very important that it's time to speak up. What do you have to lose? You're not happy anyway. So what if you say what you want and what you need? You might just end up happy. You might just get it, right? So don't just stay unhappy. Don't do it. Be the change you wish to see. And some of you also are a little bit in a negative attitude. So this goes for both in committed relationships and singles. Some of you are losing faith in your ability to find, attract, and keep love. And others may be dealing with a partner who is struggling due to financial or work-related issues. Those of you looking, I'm feeling some new connections tied to financial fields. Maybe you apply for a loan in person and end up connecting with the loan officer, or you go to a financial seminar and meet someone, something like that. In the area of finances, I'm just feeling energies of helplessness and being stuck and making changes and trying new things. In the area of health, I feel symptoms and illnesses tied to not venting negative feelings and self-expression. Venting doesn't mean being a jerk to people. It means being able to carefully, calmly, and intelligently share your thoughts by taking ownership of what you feel. And no one can make you feel something you don't. So thinking others are at fault for what you feel is victim mentality. I also feel symptoms connected to the belief of being a failure, and these will manifest through inflammation in the body, which can then show up in other forms of illnesses. I do feel increase in health for some. Lastly, spirituality, new experiences and new perspectives and new approaches are all going to be on the forefront of your mind. That wraps up the intuitive messages. I hope everybody has a great week, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.